What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Perfect Mess Podcast. I'm your host, Ray Molina, and this is episode 105. Before we jump off into it, please be sure to go to my website, raymolina.com. Please bookmark it. Please check out the online shop. Lots of merchandise there. Hats, shirts, hoodies, mugs, you name it. All kinds of stuff over there, so please check it out. Once again, it's raymolina.com. You can also listen and watch all the podcast episodes there. You can read any blogs that I've written, reviews on books that I've been reading. Just tons of stuff over there for you to check out. So please check it out. And if you like what I have in the shop, please share the shop with your friends. All right, a lot of cool stuff over there. My Instagram is It's Ray Molina. That's also my TikTok. The podcast Instagram is The Perfect Mess Pod. And YouTube is youtube.com/The Perfect Mess Pod. And please be sure to subscribe. Hit the alert bell right on the right hand corner. Make sure to select all, and you will get every update for any video that I put up on YouTube. And again, please, I am trying to grow that, get the views up, get the viewers to come on over there. I know a lot of you actually have been telling me you watch the videos of the podcast more than you do listen, so that's pretty cool. So please do that. Again, it's youtube.com/The Perfect Mess Pod. I'm also on Twitter at I am Ray Molina. All right, if you hear me breathing like I'm always breathing, I am currently doing an outside workout, doing a ruck. Got my weighted vest on, and it's not an official ruck. I had someone try to, that's not a ruck. I know what an unofficial ruck is, okay? I call this a ruck because it's just a walk with a heavy ass vest on. So, anyways, so let's talk about it. I had someone ask me what drove me to become an entrepreneur, someone who's constantly trying to put things in motion, create something for themselves, whether it be a product, a brand, or brand themselves, to sell to the world. What pushed me to that, or what drove me to that? And that was based off the last podcast that I just put out. All right, and I will tell you this. I had to sit back and think of a few things that I had gone through that made me say, you know what, this isn't going to be for me. This 9-to-5 life, this sitting in a cubicle, or this helping someone else's dream come true, and me just kind of working and not taking care of myself and putting first my dreams and things that I aspire to be. But obviously a lot had to happen in order for me to do that. So part of that was I had to go to school. I went to trade school and learned how to graphic design and the basics on that. Learned how to do the basics on web designing. Now, mind you, now we're in 2023. I took this over nearly 25 years ago. So a lot has changed, but I still know enough to basically put together something clean and make it presentable and marketable, which is what you see me doing right now on my own website with my merchandise, all of that. That's what you see. Now, what drove me to that? Well, I started thinking back as to what happened with me working a 9-to-5. What were the things that pushed me away and said, this is not for me. I can't do this. This is not going to be my life. Well, there was a few things that I came across and that I remembered. And the very first one I can remember was in 95, when my best friend passed after he was shot and killed in my car. There was some time that I took off to deal with it, okay? Obviously, it's a pretty traumatic event. So I was given time off of work, I think a few weeks. And then I came back to work. Now, mind you, this wasn't like a friend passed away and I was told about it. I was there. I was witness to it. I was part of this whole thing. I was trying to pull him out the car. I've shared this story with you guys numerous times. And I watched him as the paramedics worked on him. Fucked me up for years, man. Now, I went back to work. I worked at a retail store, and I was a lead, a department lead. So when I went back to work, you know, it was definitely hard for me. I was going through the motions, working, and I think within a matter of 2 or 3 weeks, I was pulled into the office, and I was asked, "What is wrong with me?" And I said, "What do you mean?" And they said, "Well, you don't seem to have the upbeat morale that you used to have. You don't have the energy. What's going on with you?" I said, I'm working. I'm just kind of staying to myself, But I'm doing my job, right? Well, we need to make sure you're more upbeat. We need a better spirit. We need you to get back to where you were. I said, okay. 4 days later, I get pulled back into the office, and it's my direct report and the actual store district manager in an office, and they are writing me up. They wrote me up because I wasn't displaying corporate cheer or whatever they wanted to call it. I was not performing at a high level, they said. My energy wasn't there, my enthusiasm wasn't there, and it was a write-up warning to say if that doesn't change, that they were going to demote me or fire me. This was a whole month after my best friend passed away, and I stood in this office, and they asked me to sign this paperwork, and I said, "You want me to sign a letter that you wrote me up on because of my spirit is not up, because I'm not running around with a smile on my face? Well, you have to sign it." I said, "I'm sorry, my best friend was just killed a month ago. He didn't get hit by a car. He didn't die in his sleep. He was shot and killed in front of me. My car was shot 13 times. You're writing me up a month after this, and you're asking me what's going on, what's different with me." And they said, "Ray, we understand, but we still have a job to do and a company to run." So, needless to say, I didn't sign it. I said, fuck that. I didn't sign it. Now, you got to understand, I was 21 years old at the time. And I during that time of my life, I really didn't give a fuck. Okay? And yeah, I'm cussing. I'm sorry. I always apologize for cussing, but it's kind of what I got to do to get my point across, guys. That's just me. So I didn't sign it. I walked out, and that was something that I put right here. And then I proceeded to find another job by a guy who actually was another department lead there at the store I was at. He had left and got a job in the computer industry. So I went ahead and took him up on a job. I said, all right, let's go. I'll go over there. You can get me in. So he got me in. It was, I was doing assembly. Okay. Now this job, it's the first time I had outside of retail, and this was actually a really cool job because they helped me pay for my schooling that I was talking about when this podcast first started. They helped me pay for it, which was very cool. Now I spent 5 years at this job, okay? And at this job, I had basically everybody became family to me. I was really close to them. And we get to the year 2000, or right before 2000. No, it might have been 2000. And that's when I found out what a layoff was. Well, the computer industry, the dot-com era, was starting to tank, and I was in the middle of that. And this is when I realized what I was going to school for was going to be still useful, but it wasn't going to pay me as much as I was initially told it was going to pay me, because now the industry was changing. You know, all of these, you know, we had Fry's Electronics, and they were providing a bunch of software where people can do the work that I was doing from home for themselves. Anyways, I went through a layoff. I found out that when a company doesn't need you, doesn't matter how good you are, how many hours of overtime you put in. When they don't need you anymore, they're getting rid of your department. That's it. There's no warm hugs. There's no, hey, we're gonna miss you. There's no nothing. It's just, hey, we gotta cut. We gotta make cuts, and they cut you. So they did. So when I left, I had 5 years of severance pay or whatever, which was a pretty good check, but still, it was a hard lesson for me to learn. At this time, I was living by myself. I had my first apartment, and I also learned that, hey, things are gonna get tough now because you don't no longer have a job. Yeah, you have this severance pay, but you gotta make it last, because now we're going through a time in the work industry where people aren't hiring. So that was part 2 of corporate that I learned. Okay. So then I moved into another retail spot, went back to retail, and I wasn't there for maybe more than a year, maybe a year. And then that's when I said, you know what? I'm gonna head off into Colorado because I need a change of scenery. Okay, sorry about the noise in the background. I was like, you know what? I need a change of scenery. I gotta get out of California in the Bay Area. It's just bad out here. So I moved to Colorado. That job I really liked. I worked at a company that did continuing legal education for lawyers. So I met a lot of very smart people, had a pretty good job. I liked that job. But that didn't last, because that's when I signed my first record deal. And I know some of you guys are like, record deal? Yeah. Signed my first record deal. And I had to move back to the Bay Area to help promote this album. So I did that. Anyways, come back, Bay Area. I get a little shitty job to kind of hold me over till I actually find a job that's actually going to be something I can hold on to for a while. That's when I got another job in manufacturing. I worked there for 5 years, and then I learned about my second layoff. And my second layoff was harder because this time I had a wife and I had just had my second child. And this one really hit because this one I was actually working with family, and the friends I had there were like family. So that's when I told you guys on another episode of my podcast that I came into work and I was wearing a big 8.5 by 11 photo of me and my family. I wore it around my neck like a necklace, a big one. I put it in a plastic sleeve because I knew my name was on that list, because there was like, I think 20 of us. It wasn't a big company. And sure enough, you know, I was asked to take the photo off. One of the HR ladies was kind of crying. She's like, I wish you wouldn't wear that. This is hard enough as it is. I go, it's hard for who? I said, you're not going home today. I'm going home. I'm going home to face my wife and my children. But you guys got to save money, right? So who's this hard for? I'm going to ask you that again. Who's this hard for? And later on in the day, we all got pulled in an office, and I proceeded to go through my second layoff in my life. And this one hurt. That was 2012. And I said, I'm done. I'm done with this. I am no longer going to treat my dreams and what I'm trying to do as an item for the back burner. I'm not doing it anymore. So I said, I'm going full bore. I'm going to try and make this successful. The music, the media company I had, everything. I'm going to do my best. I have no education how to run a business, but I am going to learn how to do this, and I'm going to try. And I did. And, you know, a lot of this stuff I'm self-taught, so it didn't pick up fast enough, you know what I mean? And because the results weren't there fast enough, it's a big reason why I was heading for a divorce. You know how fucking hard it is to admit that? But you know how proud I am to know that I've come that far, that I could sit here on camera, on my podcast, in audio form, and tell you guys that that was part of the reason why I was heading for a divorce. The results weren't there. We had 2 kids, and I couldn't make enough money fast enough. So my last corporate job, went back into manufacturing. Why? You ask me, why did I go back to manufacturing? Well, I picked this job up not because I wanted a job or because I gave up on trying to do my business and become an entrepreneur. I did it because I was trying to save my marriage. I did it because I was hoping that my wife would see that I'm willing to do anything to save our marriage, to at least do my part. Now, the whole thing was not all my fault. We were both at fault for a lot of stuff. But I was trying to do anything I could to save my marriage. And she hadn't filed for divorce yet, but she had already told me she was filing. She already told me that she was leaving me. She told me she was done, that she wasn't happy, that she just doesn't know if she ever wants to be married, or just, it was a lot, okay? We don't need to go, we've already been down that tunnel. But what I'm telling you is, she had already told me, okay? So I'm hanging on by a thread. I'm at this job. The funny part about this job was they were a client for my personal business. So talk about me being an entrepreneur. They were a client of my business. They would come to me to design the logos that go on their trucks. It was a manufacturing business. So I would design, print, and install logos on their box trucks. I would put up signs in their offices, in their buildings. I didn't work for them. They would call me and say, hey, we have a new box truck. We need new logos on the sides, the doors, we need vehicle numbers, all that. That's what I did at the time. Now I did a walkthrough one day and I realized this was a company that I'm familiar with what they do. So I said, you know, I could do this. And the guy says, man, we need somebody to do this little part over here. If you're ever looking for some extra work, we could use you, man. And we'd pay you to continue to do what you do for us. Sounds like a win-win, right? So I took it. Why? Why not? I could still get paid to do my stuff for them, and then they would also pay me to work in the office to do stuff for them and their company. Getting 2 checks. Why not? But here's what changed. And it changed in a very, very drastic way. I'm there maybe 6 months. And one morning I get served divorce papers at about 7 a.m. at home. And it devastated me. And I put them in my backpack and I went to work. And I sat in my office, and I'll be real with you, I cried like a little baby, man. I cried and cried and cried. I just cried so hard, man. But then I got to work. But I wasn't the same. Like, I was trying to act like I was okay. But you guys know me, like the people who listen to this podcast and know me in person, you guys know me. I'm always cracking jokes. I'm always laughing. I'm always having a good time. You know what I mean? And so people are used to that. And that same day, you know, my direct report, he's a little bit of a hard ass. He tells me, you know, what's wrong? And I said, well, I told you I'm going through a divorce. He goes, okay. And I go, and she finally served me this morning. And he goes, oh man. He goes, yeah, that's tough. I go, yeah. He goes, hey, well, you got to get over it, man. He goes, come on, man, we need you here. Got to get over it. What's the big deal? And I said, what do you mean what's the big deal? He said, come on, man. He goes, you knew it was coming. It's time to get over it, move past it, this and that. He goes, you look like you're not here, like you're checked out. He goes, so, hey, whatever you got to do to get past it, man, get past it. And I looked at him, I said, you ever been divorced? He said, no. I said, okay, you got kids, right? He said, yeah. I said, what would you do if you were going through a divorce and you knew that your kids were going to be split between 2 homes from that point on, and that maybe you weren't going to have your kids as much as you wanted to? What would you do? What would you do if someone came up to you and told you, hey, well, get past it, got to get past it. You knew it was coming, so whatever you got to do to get past it so you can get to work, got to do it. What would you do? And he says, come on, man, come on. Get it together, man. You got to liven up. And I never forgot that conversation. I walked out of there. I never forgot that conversation. And you know what I did? I proceeded to look for an office, a small office that I could run my business out of. And I found one. And 2 weeks later, I got a phone call that I got my office. And if I wanted to come get the key, I could do it. And that day, I jumped off a ledge for the second time. For the second time, I jumped off a ledge and I said, okay, I'm done. So I went and got my key. grabbed a 2-week notice, filled it out, signed it, turned it into my higher up, and that was that. And he got upset because I turned it in. He said, "So you're just quitting?" I said, "No, I'm giving you a notice." I said, "I'm gonna go full bore with my business, the business you guys still pay me for. I'm not doing this no more. I'm gonna go 100% with that. Now I understand if you guys don't want to do business with me no more because I'm leaving here, that's totally fine. But I'm good. Off that last conversation you and I had, I don't need that in my life no more. I don't." And he said, "Okay, well," he goes, "You can go ahead," and he goes, "Why don't we just call it a day? I'll pay you for the week. And then we can do that." And I said, "Cool, we can do that too." So they paid me for the week, and I cut out, told a couple of the guys that I really messed with that I got love for you, but I got to get out of here. And that was that. That was 2017. And now we're in 2023, and I haven't had a corporate job since. Guys, one thing I can tell you is this: if you're asking me like this person had asked me, what changed? Let me be clear. Not everybody's an entrepreneur. Not everybody has what it takes to start a business. Not everybody has the skill to create something to try and sell. Not everybody has that. Not everybody can brand themselves. I'm still learning every day how to get better at it. I'm successful at some things, and other things I completely suck at, but I'm trying to get better. But what I can tell you is this: corporate's never gonna love you the way you think they're gonna love you. They're just not. The only way they show they love you is if when they give you that severance pay or whatever it is. But you're a number. You're an employee number. That's what you are. You're an employee number. And when they have to get rid of you, they are going to do just that. They're going to get rid of you. And those stories that I shared with you taught me that. It was a culmination of all those things put together that made my stomach turn, that gave me this outlook on, I don't want to work for these people no more, because they don't give a fuck about me. They don't care what I went through. They don't care what I'm going through. They don't care about my family. They don't care. You seen what I just shared with you. My best friend passed away. They didn't give a fuck what I went through, about me losing him, about me going through that and struggling to deal with that. They didn't give a fuck. They didn't give a fuck about me, my wife, and my kids when they laid me off from that other job. They don't care. Now, I'm not telling you guys this because I think everybody should go and run and quit their corporate job or their 9-to-5 and try to do what I'm doing. It's not for everybody. But what I can tell you, if you want advice from me, is this: don't put everything in one basket. Don't think that this company you're working for is ever going to not do you wrong, because there will come a day where they're going to turn on you and you're going to be in disbelief, and it's going to feel like a gut punch because you have given this company everything that you had. How to combat that? How do you fix that? Well, put something on the side. Get something on the side going, okay? Find a way to create a side hustle that maybe you can eventually grow to where it's enough to where if and when your corporate job takes a shit and they let you go, or they show you that they don't give a damn about you or your family or what you're doing in your life, that you can keep afloat with that side hustle until you get your next gig. You know what I mean? That's all I'm saying. So to the person who sent me that message and asked me about that, that's my answer. Not everybody's built for this, man. There are days that I struggle so bad because the business is just not making the money that I had hoped it was gonna make. And then there are days that I wake up and I'm like, man, thank you, God. It's like that. Being an entrepreneur is a roller coaster, man. And I'm telling you right now, so many people try to do this that it's hard to find people who believe in you, even family, even friends you love, because they've seen it a dozen times more, and they hope that you get it figured out. But if you don't, they hope that you somehow drop your pride to go pick something up to get the money coming in. Guys, I told you in that last podcast, I'm not above hard work. I'm not above doing something in order to get the money coming in until this other thing pops off, which is why I tell you I do what I do, which is why I tell you I do ride sharing, I do deliveries, I do my business, which is furniture restoration. I do that. I do all these different things. Why? Because I'm not above having to do certain things to keep the income going until the brand takes off, until my website and everything that I'm doing finally gets going. That's why I thank you guys so much every time one of you guys or a couple of you guys or more of you guys spend money on my website. You guys have no idea how much that means to me. I'm not famous, I'm not popular, I'm just a regular everyday guy who's raising two strong young boys, and I'm sharing my life with you. So when you support that, it means the world to me. Do I want to grow it? Hell yeah, I want to grow it. Every day I wake up, I think of how I can do that. I bang my head against the wall. How can I do that? And the only thing I keep coming up with is keep moving forward, keep pushing product out, keep putting videos up on YouTube, keep releasing podcasts, keep pushing, keep going. Something's going to catch. That's what drives me, man. My kids too. My kids, they drive me. You guys understand? That's my answer. That's my answer. Those are the things that I went through with corporate that changed my outlook forever. I hope that helps, guys. I love you. Like always, please check out the website again. It's raymolina.com. I'm on Instagram at It's Ray Molina. The podcast is at The Perfect Mess Pod. My TikTok is also at It's Ray Molina. YouTube is youtube.com/at The Perfect Mess Pod. Hit subscribe and the notification bell. Like I always say, my life isn't perfect. Oftentimes it is a mess, but for me, it is the perfect mess. Peace.